This one's just 7 games, but we still managed to pick out 2 underdogs. I'll flip it to you to go first because I think this is an interesting team. We touched on them last week. Excuse me, last episode. We said you're going to want to buy this team. It looks like maybe they're turning a corner, getting a little healthier, and they proved us right in that first game where we said to bet them against the Predators.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Vegas to take advantage of a situational spot over Minnesota, who play Wednesday night in Dallas, and they're going to be going with Gustafsson in that game, which means they'll have their lesser of the two options in Marc-Andre Fleury playing Thursday. I just think it's a great spot for Vegas to follow up what was an excellent performance versus Nashville. They pretty much just blew them right out of the water. That game wasn't close. We talked about how Vegas are going to be interesting to watch because although Stone is drawing so many headlines for being sidelined, and rightfully so because he's been excellent, the injury situation is arguably still way better than it has been, which I think is a keynote. And I think that showed in that contest in Nashville because there's a lot of guys who really dominated. Obviously, Minnesota are still a good level above Nashville, but I just think considering this situational spot, the price is pretty strong at plus 105 as of Wednesday. So yeah, I think it's a good bet, and I'm pretty high on it. And then the other note, I thought Jack Eichel was better in that contest, and it's been pretty rumored that he's kind of dealing with some issues, which I would buy into because I actually thought he was pretty excellent at the start of the year. I know he likes to draw a lot of hate from all over the place, but if he's going to play better, he has the ability to be a top center, and maybe that little break helped him as much as anyone if he's working through something. So yeah, I just think it's a good spot where this should be closer to pick him, and a good spot to get on the nights.
Yeah, I'll be with you on Vegas on Thursday night. I think that the Wild are in a tricky spot. Like you said, it's a back-to-back. They're swinging through the Southwest. They lost to Arizona on the road in a great performance by Karl Vizmelka. Coyotes 11-8-2 at home, by the way. So Yotes at home, so far so good. But I think that you're right. Like this Vegas team is starting to just push play in the right direction. Generally, a lot of it is getting bodies back, and this was a team that coming into the season we knew at their best they'd be like a Seattle or something where you're talking about there's very few holes in the lineup, but when you lose the amount of bodies they had, when you have the type of carnage that they have, those holes show up, and they can really drag down a season, and kind of make you downgrade a team. But you have to be willing to upgrade them when those bodies come back, and that's what's looking like is happening. So the Knights, for me, look good. My underdog is Seattle. They're plus 140 in New Jersey. The Devils are minus 165. This is, to me, it's a time to kind of sell high on New Jersey. They're 8-1-1 in the last 10. They've been ripping through their schedule ever since that downward turn. People started questioning how good this team was. Well, they gave us a resounding answer to that. But as we've touched on throughout this run, their underlying numbers kind of suggest they've not played as well as they were when they were just an absolute force in the beginning of the season. Not bad by any stretch, but they're just not tilting the ice in the right direction. They were lucky in the sense that they squandered a big lead to Vancouver, which is pretty hard to do these days, get an overtime win against the Canucks. So just the fact that they get those 2 points and they get the win and they continue this run kind of covers up what happened there. So Seattle, to me, they're on the road. They're coming off a dreadful performance against the Islanders, in which they lost 4-0 at UBS Arena, with me in the building. So that's part of it. But it's a good, sell high spot, maybe a little buy low spot on Seattle on the road in a what should be a pretty competitive game.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the time to fade the Devils because this run, I was beating the drum that they were going to start winning games in December, but this run is just every game. I'd like to see, I should have counted how many of the wins have been in overtime because it's been seemingly all of them. And on top of that, how many of them they've kind of dragged it there with a late equalizer or something. Vanacek's been unreal, so kudos to him. He's part of the team. But the process hasn't looked like it did earlier in the year where they're just absolutely caving teams in. So I agree there. I do think John Marino is going to help a lot because those were some of the minutes that they were getting dummied in. And now he's going to step in and be a massive upgrade. So that'll be something to watch. And then I just don't know if Seattle's the exact team I want to get on so much. I would lean here with the Kraken with you at the price, but I also, it's not like my favorite spot to back what I think is eventually going to be a bit of a downswing from the Devils.